me to tell you, honey, that I'm bad to the bone, bad to the bone, bad to the bone.
All right, Billy Cunningham, the great American. About a week or two ago, I read a story in the Cincinnati Enquirer where Cindy Carpenter, who's a proud county commissioner in Butler County, was threatened with arrest by the county prosecutor, Mike Mosier. And Richard K. Jones is a man who stands between both and loves everybody. Joining me now is that same Cindy Carpenter. And Cindy, welcome to the Bill Cunningham Show once again. Thank you.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Tell me what's going on when I see that a county prosecutor comes to a commissioner's meeting and wags his finger at you, threatening to get arrest. That kind of caught my interest. What the heck's going on?
Well, I happened to come across a young lady who was living on the streets, living under the bridge. I left a meeting, the Initiative to Reduce Infant Mortality, and it was pointed out to me that this young lady didn't have a place to go. So I met with her. I helped her stay in the hospital. I asked her what she needed, and I've been following her through the system. There have just been countless mistakes made on her case. Her case plan for reunification with her children was done somewhere behind a desk. She didn't participate. All the best practices were ignored. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the agencies don't want me looking into how this case was handled.
Why?
I think that the changes we've asked at the county level be made in children's services have been ignored for a number of years. This is one of those cases that is a catalyst. If you follow this case from beginning to end, you will clearly be able to identify every barrier in the system for this mother to successfully be reunited with her kids.
Everyone. And I know you come out of that orientation. Before you became a county commissioner, weren't you involved in children's issues?
I have been. I've been involved as advocate for fragile populations, worked with Ohio Legal Rights Services Commission as a commissioner for 2 terms, served Ohio governors with regard to Medicaid reform recommendations, worked with Department of Health. It's been endless, and I don't think I've ever seen a case like this where everyone's willing to turn a blind eye to mistakes that have been made, saying, we won't look at this again. A year ago, we made a decision. We put her in the system. We decided we weren't going to give her parenting. We weren't going to recognize that transportation was a barrier. We weren't going to handle the difficulties she has with her one child having seizures. We're just going to write her down to be a bad parent. And that's it.
Well, now, why would Mike Mosier, the Butler County prosecutor, care deeply about this case to such an extent that he'd come and kind of dress you down in a commissioner's meeting? Why did he do that?
I think that he believed I was not working through the county administrator. I think he believed that I was out trying to affect policy. And I can document all through this case. I'd simply ask people to do what they were supposed to do, follow existing policy. And, we've been working on this with Children's Services for 3 decades.
Yeah.
Tiffany Hubbard's death, Marcus Feisel's death, they all go back to mistakes that were made in handling the case. This case, nobody did a background check on one individual in the family. I can't believe that's happening now.
And why were you threatened? Didn't he threaten to arrest you?
He said if I continue to work outside the boundaries as a commissioner, I put myself at risk.
Do you take that threat seriously?
Sure, I take it seriously. But, I've talked to several people about this, and, I have to decide, am I going to help this woman? Am I going to continue to help this woman who's going to have a baby in the next 2 weeks? Or do I say somehow this is outside the boundaries of a commissioner? It probably is. But like my husband said, I'm likely to help another person whose life is in danger if I come across that person.
How many kids does the woman have presently?
She has 3, and the one that she's pregnant with. So she's been put out of the home multiple times by the boyfriend. Another very complicated part of this story is that he was recently sentenced to prison. So that sort of turned
Yeah.
what the partial family unit was upside down. And in my mind, that could clearly be identified as a change in the family and be a reason to review the case plan and update it.
Right. Well,
But-
is that a job of a commissioner? Is that something I'm thinking in Claremont County or in Kenton County or in Hamilton County? Is that something that a commissioner like you does, or is that some other agency of government?
Oh, that's definitely the Job and Family Service, Children's Services people. I just pointed out to them, look what you've got. This isn't accurate. And they've pushed back through the county administrator and said, well, maybe I don't know what they've said. They've stalled out on it. I guess because there's been so much attention to the case. It's not my responsibility to rewrite it, but I did notice and it has come to my attention that many changes have happened in this case. From our standpoint of policy, the commission has steadfastly said we want the services front-end loaded and we want to work to reunification of the family, unless for some reason that's not in the best interest of the kids or it fails. And in this case, we didn't do that.
Cindy Carpenter, how's your relationship with Mike Mosier before? It is so, I could not imagine Joe Dieters walking into a commissioner's meeting, pointing his finger at Greg Hartman and saying, I'm going to get you arrested unless you stop. Yeah, did you have much of a relationship with Mike Mosier, the Butler County prosecutor, before this happened?
I thought I did. We're both from the same party. We're both Republicans. He served as my attorney in the past. I think that there's some kind of hot button we pushed here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Talked to a few people. We don't know if we're going to find out what it is. The reorganization of Butler County Children's Services has been on the table since our administrator's been there, and within the next couple weeks, they were supposed to come back and present the reorganization. And the ombudsman testified at last Monday's commission meeting, and his statement is pretty profound. He said that this case has been handled poorly. However, most of our cases are handled poorly. Here we are 30 years into reform, and we're still saying that.
Yeah, I mean, Butler County's had problems with Jobs and Family Services or Children's Protective for as long as I've been on the radio. Do you think Mike Mosier, the county prosecutor, is trying to hide something?
I don't think he's trying to hide something. I think unless people have seen the inner workings, I think there's an assumption that they're doing an excellent job. And according to the ombudsman, they're following an archaic model, and they're not using some of the best practices, and they're not tapping into community resources. I'm a conservative Republican. I want us to tap into community resources. Yeah. The county doesn't have to pay for it. Let's build a family support network. We don't want to have kids wards of the state for 18 years. If we can put a little bit of a program in place on the front end with the parents and lift them up to be the support for that child for the rest of his or her life.
So, Cindy Carpenter, you're saying you're not going to stop. You're going to let the chips fall where they may, and it could result in your arrest.
I wouldn't go that far. But I am not going to forget my commitment to kids, and I'm not going to stop holding the directors accountable for the decisions they make. And if a constituent calls me and says, "Hey, I need you," I don't know where to turn, I am going to pick up the phone and listen to that person.
Where does Richard K. Jones, the sheriff, stand on this?
He said that I'll see if I can remember exactly what he said. He said, "You tell Bill Cunningham that I stand with you, Cindy."
So Jones told you to tell me that Jones stands with Carpenter.
That's what he said.
What about my friend Roger Reynolds, the county auditor? Do I need to come there to do like an intervention with the elected officials and get everybody calmed down?
We've got a fractured party right now, and you got to wonder with some of this how much is political. The big budget battle because we have a little smidgen of money to dole out for raises, so we've got a big battle over who's going to get their share of that. Our party's fallen apart financially. We've got headquarters in a wonderful office in a trucking company with some wonderful people allowing it to be there. we're the home of John Boehner,
Yeah.
and that's a challenge.
Yeah. John Boehner.
Without-
Is John Boehner popular or not popular at this point in Butler County?
It just depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask. So you'll hear favorable reports and opinions, and some not so favorable. But he's definitely the most well-known politician that we've ever had in our county.
Yeah.
So he's been asked to help us reorganize and get ourselves on better footing.
What did he say when you asked him? What did he say?
I did not ask. I am a.
But whatever's going on, in other words, has not been successful yet because, there's like 4,500 counties in America, and there's only one that has the Speaker of the House in the county. And Boehner, when I talk to other elected officials, they would like Boehner to be more involved with them in getting projects started, getting some funding for this, or getting some connection. And many elected officials tell me his speakership has not benefited the tri-state at all.
We hear that. We hear that in the trenches sometimes, and we also hear those people who really appreciate him. Some of the conservative Republicans. Right. And I am not being liberal on this issue that we're talking about with this homeless individual. I'm being conservative. I do not want those children to be in the system as wards of the state, costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars. I do not want this lady to have a premature baby, costing us $1 million at Children's Hospital. My initiative, yes, is to help them, because I care about the life of the woman and her children, but also it's good government to make sure that we have healthy citizens and we're not paying for them on the Medicaid doles.
Well, how do you react? Mosier's an older gentleman. Do you think he's being somewhat condescending because you're a woman? He's a big, tough man that he feels as if he can come and school you a little bit?
I don't know how to respond to that, but if you ask it a different way, has he ever taken the same approach with any other commissioner, then the answer would be no.
So do you think he's playing the gender card a little bit, like he's a little bit looking down his nose at you and pointing his finger at a woman when he wouldn't do it to a man?
See, I can't say that for sure. I think if I goes back to what's the real issue here, I think that this lady was invisible living under the bridge, and maybe it makes people uncomfortable to bring her plight to the attention of the office holders.
Yeah, maybe they may think they failed. But, all right, we got to run, but we'll see what happens. What's the next step in this darn thing?
Follow it through. She's going to have a baby. We hope the baby's going to be healthy. She has to find shelter. She's enrolled in all the programs, not county agencies, but the nice social service programs out there. And a lot of people are giving her a hand. So we're going to have a good outcome.
At some point, the baby's going to be born in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, baby's going to be here.
Kid's coming.
Yes.
And so then what does Mosier do? What does Carpenter do when the baby's here? Then what?
Well, my goal is that the housing is in place, the services are in place, the lady has what she needs, what everyone else would have in her situation. She had to overcome the barrier of no phone, no address, no transportation, no Medicaid card, no food stamps, no WIC, and come from that to figure out how to put things in place, to get ready to have the baby. She's done an incredible amount of work, and it's up to her. It's not my responsibility to determine whether she's doing a good job or not, if she should have her kids back. I'm just saying give her the same thing everybody else would have in her same situation. It's
kind of like old school against new school. It's kind of like the way things were and the way things are. And you kind of represent new school, and Mosier represents old school. Is that a little bit of the rub?
I think that might be it, yeah.
Because you're like the Hamilton versus Liberty Township kind of a debate. It's where's the future of Butler County? But you can't find a Democrat with a search warrant in Butler County, right? There's no Democrats, so there's nobody to fight. So the Republicans fight with each other. We've
seen a lot of that in the last 10 years, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I mean, Butler County's been wonderful. I don't know if there's a Democrat anywhere, but I'm not aware of one. But at this point, it looks to me as if Republicans fight each other because there's nobody to fight. And when you're in Democratic areas, if there's no Republicans, Democrats, like in the city of Cincinnati, there's hardly any Republicans. So Cranley's fighting Qualls. They're both Democrats, both good Democrats, and they're fighting each other. Now in Butler County, there's no Democrats, so the Republicans fight each other. And all I can say, can't we all just get along?
I hope so. I wish we could. Just figure out what our mission is, good government, what's it take to get there, and all,
and move on.
Aim in the same direction. Move on.
Well, Cindy Carpenter, if you get arrested, let me know. I'll put together a dream team of lawyers because obviously your lawyer can't represent you. If your lawyer is going to arrest you, your lawyer can't represent you. I'll put together a dream team.
I appreciate that.
All right.
I'm writing down your cell phone number right now to put in my pocket.
You got my cell phone. You call me, and I'll put together a dream team of lawyers. Now, who would do the arresting? Would Sheriff Richard K. Jones send out guys to arrest you? If the Mosier tells arrest Cindy, so you'd have the county prosecutor, who's your lawyer, sending the sheriff to arrest the county commissioner, represented by your lawyer.
I think Rick would want to come so he could laugh the whole time he was doing it. He would get a big kick out of it. Hey, can we get our picture taken together when you're in cuffs?
That would be beautiful. All right, well, Cindy, good luck. Hopefully things calm down a little bit. Hopefully things calm down.
I think they will. Right, I appreciate you.
Cindy, you're a great American. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's continue with more. How about a dream team of Eric Dieters and Randy Freaking and me representing Cindy Carpenter against Mosier with Richard K. Jones as a character witness for both. Where Sheriff Jones loves everybody. Bill Cunningham, 700. Joining me now is the giant of Butler County with feet in many different kingdoms, Richard K. Jones. Richard K. Jones, welcome again to the Bill Cunningham Show.
How you doing, Bill?
We had on Cindy Carpenter, Butler County Commissioner, an hour or two ago, and she said that you stood with her in her dispute with Mike Mosier, the county prosecutor. Is that true?
Here's what I want to make sure that everybody hears me plainly. Absolutely not true. Again, absolutely not true. Mike Mosier is correct on this issue and giving her advice and telling he's her attorney. He's my attorney. He's every office holder's attorney. And it's very difficult for me to not be accurate. And here she is, a county commissioner, but she's absolutely wrong. I am not with her. Mike Mosier is absolutely correct. And I've voiced my opinion to Commissioner Carpenter also, that there's, the law is the law. Sometimes I don't like it, but you have to get the law changed, and that's what the prosecutor is supposed to do. And he has met with her on many occasions, and he didn't go to the commissioners and wag his finger or point his finger at Cindy. He went there because she won't listen. And he done it in an open forum, and she listened for a little while. But she is absolutely, going to help somebody that's sleeping under a bridge and is pregnant. Great and wonderful thing. But the law requires and mandates that you can do some things in your position. And Mr. Mosier has gave her advice and told her what she can't do. He's never threatened to arrest her. But if she continues going out of these boundaries, she's doing more harm than she is helping. I just want to make that
is it true, Sheriff
clear.
Jones, that you might be the one doing the arrest because the prosecutor can't arrest? He'll have the sheriff arrest, so you could be arresting Cindy Carpenter.
There's not going to be any arrest. Good try. Mr. Mosier has never threatened to arrest her. He's told her, and he's done it in an open forum in a commissioner meeting, to get her to stop and desist. And she should. She's not, we all have rules, and we don't make these rules up. This is the law. And, there's lots of people in the children's services, and there's lots of people that go through the system. Is it the best system in the world? Nothing's 100%. But she can't do this by herself. She can't go and do the things that she's doing. The prosecutor is correct. Mike Mosier is correct. He's not old school. He's actually very smart. One of the best defense attorneys that Butler County has ever seen. He don't lose many cases. And when he gives you advice, if you don't like it, too bad.
Well, Cindy Carpenter seemed to be saying that She has a greater concern for the youth and for the trying to help this woman.
Not true.
She's 2 weeks.
She has a concern, and so does Mike Moser. I've seen Mike Moser in action. I've seen him. His heart is huge, but he's the prosecutor. He tells you what he does is he tells you what you need to know, not what you want to know. And there's a difference. And there's 3 people on the commission, and it takes 2 to make that work. And it's not about who has the most compassion. They both have compassion. But Cindy Carpenter's wrong in the way that she's handling this, and that's the prosecutor has told her that, and many others have.
Well, she came out with me an hour or 2 ago and said that you stand with her. Are you saying that's inaccurate?
Oh, it's not only inaccurate, it's absolutely not true. I told her that she needs to stop with this. She needs to do what the law says she can do and what Mr. Moser says she can do. And she needs to stop the fighting in this. There's a lot of things going on, children's services and helping the poor and people sleeping under bridges. Those are all very important things. We should all have compassion with that. And Mike Moser does. We all do. But you can't do things that your lawyer that represents you tells you that you cannot do. But he never threatened to arrest her. He told her that she has to stop and go within these guidelines. He's even told her that he will help her do what she can to get where she needs to go and handle it the right way. But as you're an attorney, you understand that. I'm the sheriff, and I understand it.
I don't want to cause any problems. I just want to get the facts out to people. That's all.
You've done a heck of a job.
Get the facts
I
out.
want to set the record straight. Mike Moser is correct on the way this is being handled, and the sheriff is not with Cindy Carpenter on this matter.
Well, I'm willing to come to Butler County, get me, Moser, get Cindy Carpenter together, get them in one place, get T.C. Chen, get the other commissioners, whoever the heck it is, get back together, hump-diddy-do, because when there's no Democrats to fight, Republicans start fighting each other.
Well, this isn't a huge fight. This isn't a big fight. It's just one that wants to not agree with the other. But Mike Moser, the prosecutor, hey, he's the prosecutor. He doesn't make the law. He tells you what it is. Yep. And there's times I don't like the way the law reads. And if that's the case, I need to go get the law changed. If not, we got to move on. We have to make things work. There's no huge fights here, no different than there is anywhere else. No. It's just Commissioner Carpenter disagreeing with the prosecutor and coming on the air and saying things that are not accurate.
Well, we got to run Sheriff Richard K. Jones, but I'm always available to bring peace to Butler County if at all possible.
You're the man. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Sheriff. Now, that puts the cheese on the cracker right there. Essentially, Jones called Cindy Carpenter a liar. Essentially, that's what happened. Bill Cunningham, 700 WLW.